is Get Valiant.
It is Valiant, and we are getting it. What's up? I'm Hoosier.
I'm Josh.
Yeah, I'm Eric.
And that there below is our good friend. We enjoy him. He's been on the show a couple times, third time, 3 times, 5 times. It doesn't matter. He can come on again. It's Matthew Klein, Valiant VP.
Ooh, thank you so much for having. I'm always just going to say I'm the 5-time Get Valiant guest. If I'm on here 100 times, that's still how I'm going to introduce myself.
Right. Clap your hands for thee. That's right. You know, so I had it in the description that we were going to ask you some important Valiant questions, but not all of them are Valiant. The first one, the Blade Runners or the Rock and Roll Express?
Oh, come on. Rock and Roll Express all day long.
Well, what the Blade Runners could have been, I guess, is the question, right?
Well, the Blade Runners could have been, you know, the Road Warriors. That's what they wanted to be. But they were greener in goose step, as they say. And come on, Rock and Roll Express, no one's going to fire up that comeback, you know, like Bobby Eaton. I mean, it's just Robert Morton is one of the best of all time.
Love him.
And they're going to take a shellacking and they're going to find a way for a roll up at the end with some kind of a distraction and get one over on the big guys. It's going to be the Rock and Roll Express.
I did love when they would come into WCW back in the day and they would join in with Sting. They seemed like they were always allies. So that was fun. So it's kind of the best of both worlds there. So
I was more of a Midnight Express fan myself. But that's
all right, then I have one for you. Is it Midnight Express or the Fabulous Ones?
Well, I like the Midnight Express better because I think Stan Lane. Wait, no, Stan Lane was in the Fabulous Ones.
He was on both, yes. Steve Kern.
Yeah, I was trying to say, I think it's
Skinner.
I think Eaton wasn't in the Fabulous Ones. I think it was Condrey.
No. Yes, I think it was Condrey.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I had to think about that, where I was on the spot like, wait, what?
Wait a second. Yeah, the Fabulous Ones. You know, I would go back to some old Fabulous Freebirds since we're talking Fabulous. I like some
Bad Street.
Which version, though? Are you talking about Jimmy Garvin or are you talking
Jimmy
about
Garvin and
Buddy
P.S. Hayes?
Oh, wow. Not Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts?
No.
Gordy looks like a train wreck. Even back in the day, like he looked like just a mess of a human being.
If you were drinking that much, doing that many drugs, and staying up all night on the road 300 days a year, you might look like that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So the Blade Runner comment went over some of our guests online's chat. That was actually the Stinger, and the Ultimate Warrior before they became big superstars. So
before he was the Dingo Warrior.
Yes.
And then the Ultimate Warrior. And before he was Sting, yes.
Yep. Love those fellas. So
what podcast are we on? This isn't like the Jimmy Garvin podcast, or not Jimmy Garvin, Jimmy Valiant. This isn't the Jimmy Valiant podcast.
I mean, we can boogie woogie if you wanna. Let's be very clear.
You know, what's funny about that is, like, I think it was like last year when we were leading up to the last time we had you on.
Mm-hmm.
There was this, I think I put it in the Get Valiant page. There's this very, very old image of Jimmy Valiant back in probably 85 WCW.
Mm-hmm.
And his tag team partner was this guy named Lasertron who looked just like Divinity.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to find this.
That's awesome.
Amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah. And I don't think he talked at all either. Like, I think Jimmy Valiant did all the talking when they did their promos. And the other guy was just completely quiet. His gimmick was that he was from, he would go back in time, though, which is even better. Time traveling wrestler looked just like Divinity. Yeah.
So Kushida, essentially, currently, yeah. They just announced that NXT North American title match tonight, too, with him and Johnny Gargano on February 14th. I'm very excited.
Yep. Well, we are here to talk a little bit of wrestling because this is Get Wrestling.
Get Wrestling.
The companion podcast. Yes.
Yeah, it's our our Get Valiant Companion one where we talk about wrestling.
I will be your steady co-host for that one. Let's be very clear.
That's it. All right. I think we got another one, sideball one that we're going to do then.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate you getting on. Last week we had EXO number 4, and I'm going to drop the ball right there. EXO number 4 was launched, and then we got the sad news that we're waiting until August.
I know. We're giving it a little bit of a breather before the next story arc, which I've already read the first 2 scripts for. We were getting layouts in even as we speak. We are very, very excited to see this story continue. What did you guys think of the last issue, though?
I thought it was pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been kind of hard on it.
Sure.
Like probably the second and third issue, I was a little bit judgmental of it, but I did think that the 4th issue did kind of bring things around again. Yeah.
My big question, because I don't know, maybe I'm just missing things, but do we know exactly who the art team is going to be moving forward?
Same team.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we're keeping the same team. You still got Dennis writing it. You've got Emilio on art. You've got Ruth on colors. You got Hassan on letters. No, because this team, first of all, this team's in it for the long haul, for the next arc and the arc after that for sure. And then you've also got they're gelling, man. Like they are. It's that thing where they've all really figured out their groove. And I mean, like I was talking about this the other day. Like Hassan's been dropping hints for what's coming in arc 2 and 3. Back in issue 2, if you look at some of the word bubbles for some of the characters, like they've got these plans laid out and everything, the coloring, Ruth's been dropping hints about the direction for arc 2, especially in like the new suit design. Like they're layering this all in for the long game, which is really, really cool. So yeah, same team, not going anywhere. Christian Ward's still going to be doing some of the A covers, it looks like.
That's awesome too.
Yup.
So what was up? You said suit design. So what was up with the junk protection that was in this new suit design? Like, I'm going to tell how it is, and you can say pass, but I mean, I hope you won't.
Dylan's going to go there one way or another. I'm just saying, like, it's preemptive. Someone eventually is going to try for that shot.
It's going to happen.
I'm just saying,
you'll Ric Flair underneath, right?
I'm just saying, look for some of the threats that are coming in arc 2. You're going to understand why they need that protection all the way through.
Is it Liu Kang back in Mortal Kombat who would do the splits and punch in the junk? Was that who it was?
I mean, that is about the most 90s piece of the costume design you could possibly ask for. To be very clear.
Did anybody ask for it, though? That's the thing.
Because no one asked for it.
Some of the roots of the character from the 90s? Come on.
I liked the blue along the top, like it was a belt, like it was the championship belt. Like he was like, look at me.
Like,
I'm just saying. Emilio might be a pro wrestling fan. I cannot confirm this, but it's very possible.
We hope so. We hope so.
The artwork's been absolutely stellar, like all the way through. The development of the relationship with Shanhara and Arik continues to be a major central point into that next arc, where Whitaker's allegiance and how that alliance is going to be with Arik in the next arc takes a big, big turn, and I would say step forward. You might say step backward. And then what's really cool, too, is like you see the layering of the villains and of the threats and how they're going to continue to escalate and how they're being put in. What I really appreciate the creative team doing here, everybody from Dennis to Hassan to Heather Antos on the book, is what I appreciated is that they were very certain that the first 4 issues does not feel like you have to read the next 8 to understand a beginning, middle, and end. But then they give you that last couple pages there to make you go, holy crap, what is to come next? What's going on? And it's all built out of what you're seeing so far. So they're layering in that storytelling really well. They're building this momentum and building and building and building. And that's going to continue. And the stakes just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with the next story arc. And then by the end of arc 2, I mean, to say it's a WTF moment is an understatement. So we're really, really excited for the direction of this. And you get to see Arik really get put through the paces in ways that's been a while, quite frankly. And to see that relationship with him and Shanhara get tested in ways that you've never seen before. So I'm really, really excited to see how this continues to evolve. But it will be this team evolving it. So
I appreciate that continuity.
Yeah. Number one, I'm super happy that we're getting the same creative team. That is extremely exciting.
Yeah, we're not changing arcs like they did, a few years ago on the 2017. We were listening. Quite frankly, we were listening to retailers, and we've been listening to the fans, which is like, no, we want to see artists on there for as long as possible. So it's like, all right, to make this work with Emilio's schedule, a little bit of a break. Test the waters on what a break would do for sales. We're giving it a little bit of a break, but we wanted to make sure that the creative team stayed on for this next arc. So you're getting Emilio, you're getting Christian on the covers, you're getting Ruth, you're getting Hassan. They're all back.
I think the breakout star of this art team, or the creative team, is Ruth. Like, for me, like,
she's amazing.
Holy crap.
Amazing.
But the other, okay, so you talked a lot about things we've seen, things we haven't seen. One big question that I have to get out there while we're talking about this.
Please.
Is,
Wait. It's only out of love.
No, I do. I want to say one thing though. You guys, like, I love all the graphics that you guys have been putting into place. Like that opening intro for the video. Like, no joke, you guys have done an amazing job continuing to grow and evolve this podcast. Like, it just levels up even more every time I come on. So I want to say just kudos to you three. It sounds like a very big kudos to you, Hooser.
I try.
It's
polishing a turd. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to polish it, make it look good.
You're just bringing more of the gold out of the gold. That's all. Just more shine out of it. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, Eric and I were basically like two cans with a string attached to them, until Hoosier showed up,
But Eric, I interrupted your train of thought. Hit me with your question. What's the thing that required the spoiler alert?
Okay, no. What I really want to know about is because you were talking about, we're seeing art go through things that it hasn't gone through before. That's awesome. But a lot of us fans are looking for is the callbacks to what has come before, and knowing that this new story is set in the same continuity as the previous stories. Because a lot of us, what we love about Valiant, and I would include myself in this, is that feeling of an interconnected universe that has ties to its history and doesn't forget about what has come before. So that's my big question, not only with XO, but with other books as well.
Just in general, yeah, sure. No.
Yeah, is that something we can expect to see more of as we move forward?
You really can, and it's one of those things where if you look at, Bloodshot, you're seeing in this arc, especially with One Last Shot, you're seeing a return from, some of the Salvation in particular. You see this big villain come back. So you're seeing those ties. Get ready for the tease in Bloodshot 12 of what comes next as well. There's a huge tie to continuity in there also. XO, you're going to see more and more Easter eggs and references tied in Arc 2 and Arc 3 and how it's going to circle back to some of the earlier continuity as well. It's one of those things where you've got to get that balance, right? Whenever a new creative team comes on with a character, we want to give them carte blanche, right? We want to give them the task of saying, everything that happened before happened, but what happens next does not have to be 100% reliable on what happened the moment before, right? So you want to give them room to tell their story. So that's what we've done a bit with XO. That's what we did a bit with Bloodshot, is we wanted to make sure that the creative team could get the direction off the ground, promote a little bit of accessibility in there as well to help new readers jump back on, or readers who've been gone for a few years find their footing. And as the story's progressing, you're seeing more and more of those nods and other characters and whatnot coming back into the stories. You're going to see that with the Harbinger hardcore. When this comes back.
Hardcore is going to be in Harbinger?
I mean, maybe.
Or are you just saying it's hardcore?
Maybe
both.
You got to read it to find out. But no, you're going to see, like, in Harbinger, you're going to see the continuity play into it, from the beginning. In a sense, it's acknowledging it. But it's still going to be accessible enough that someone who's never read a Harbinger book can still jump on. And that's the balancing act. That's the balancing act with a universe. Is the deeper you go into a universe, you still have to find ways to invite new fans or lapped fans, while at the same time honoring the fact of what has come before and keeping the continuity in line. So you're going to see that with Ninjak. You're going to see that in the Harbinger. You're going to continue to see more and more of that as XO goes into arc 2 and 3. You're seeing that big time in what's happening right now with Bloodshot and One Last Shot. So it's there, for Visitor as well. Like Savage included is still keeping in very, very much firmly in view of what has come before with that book, literally in the first couple pages. So it's still there. How these characters are going to come back together into those larger types of more continuity and event style stories, stay tuned. It's something we're discussing daily. We've had some plans. COVID changed some plans. Now, as we are looking at not just 2021, but I'm looking at publishing plans through the end of 2022, and how we're charting that course, what it can be, what it's going to look like exactly. You will be rewarded for the long-time readership as well.
All right. Well, I don't want to bogart all the questions here, but you're talking about, the obvious impact COVID has had on the world, which of course there's no way that it couldn't have impacted Valiant. So, I mean, it's completely understandable.
The whole industry, it's still impacting. Look at almost every other publisher. They're still running off of, changed plans, events that have been dropped, series that you don't know where they are, trimming down their offerings, how they're releasing their trade paperbacks. I can't tell you how many publishers who, depending on where you're printing, can't get their trade paperbacks in there within a month of solicit. It's a challenge for everybody right now. Still, almost a year later, it's still having this impact. And it's going to keep having impact on every publisher for the next probably 6-7 months, easy. So it's one of those things where we're still finding our way. It's still a week-to-week aspect of reevaluating the marketplace, reevaluating spending, reevaluating retail figures. But good news is the books are doing well. XO number 4 was our highest selling number 4 in I think about 3 years. Bloodshot 10 is our highest selling number 10 in years. So like what's nice is the demand is there. People are excited about the characters. They're excited for these stories. They want to see more. As long as they want to see more, we're in good shape. And that's the key.
This is the most burning questions for me. And
sir,
I understand that the question may not, or the answer may not be concrete, but I have to at least ask, when are we going to see more than 2 books? I would rather have 2 books than no books. So don't get me wrong.
Me too.
In comics, but is there a time frame that we can expect to start seeing, a new, another title added to the monthly rotation?
So your question is very timely. So the exact time frame of when you're going to see 3 books a month on a regular basis is a bit more fluid. You could start seeing 3 books a month as early as the summer. I'm actually in conversations with that tomorrow.
Visitor.
We'll get there. 1 second after. You haven't asked me the question yet. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, let my question get answered, Hoosier.
Will it be 3 books a month every single month, or will we be able to do 3 books a month here and there and then ramp back up? So that's the question. My question is not a question of how fast can we get to 3 books a month. I mind how fast can we get back to 6 books a month. So that's where my headspace is right now. And again, I'm looking at pub plans through 2022 to see exactly how and what that timetable looks like. And as the world changes, that is a major factor in when that's going to happen. So, but again, you could start seeing a couple months with 3 books a month as early as the summer. I'm going to have conversations about that tomorrow even. So we'll see.
Well, I'm glad that it's on the table. I'm glad that your answer wasn't,
who knows?
F off.
No.
It is.
I would never do that to you guys. You know that. Look,
that's a great question. Next one, please.
I'm not here to hide. I'm here to be as open a book as I can be without getting fired. That is, and honestly, maybe I'll get fired regardless. Because I'm still being too open.
Hope not.
But we'll go.
And we saw a number of publishers actually kind of almost to a degree double down when COVID hit. And now we're seeing, you guys went to 2 and you chose 2.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that's helped? Or, I mean, and hurt you guys at the same time?
It's all pros and cons, right? From a budget standpoint, from a P&L standpoint, it's helped us tremendously kind of weather the COVID storm, as it were. Which is great because that only helps us not just in 2020, not just in 2021, but again in 2022 and beyond, because we're being responsible, with the business and making sure, because as I said on here before, we're not looking at 6 months, we're looking at 6 years. So, and that's where our mindset continues to be. So I think that's good. What it does a couple things. One, it gives people a chance to miss us, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's an uncomfortable thing at times. Two, it allows retailers to even focus more on the titles we are putting out there. They paid a lot more attention to Savage, for example, for its upcoming release on February 17th than they did a year ago. So, and our sales numbers beat our projections from a year ago, and they beat our projections from 3 months ago. So it's interesting too, where it's kind of giving us an opportunity for these new number ones like Savage, like Shadow Man, to build even more steam, to build even more anticipation, and potentially give them an even better chance of success. So that's really the biggest pros that we've seen out of it. The cons are you're fighting for space in the shop. You're fighting for space even more than you were before because you don't necessarily have a book a week. Right. In order to keep that in people's mind. So that's the challenge. So that's where the marketing comes in. That's where digital presence comes in. That's where trying to, communicate with fans directly by like me coming on here, interacting with us on our Twitter, what have you, to try and make sure that you hear what we're doing, why we're doing it, and also that, our presence is still being felt, as effectively as it can be. So that's really where we're looking at it now. So again, pros are we're getting these number ones to have a really, really, really strong number one. Retailers are super hungry for them now. I would argue maybe even hungrier than they were a year ago. So that's a really, really big pro. And we've been very responsible with our P&L, with our cash flow, with our budgets, which you need to be when you're weathering a storm like this.
And this is very on the button is one of our viewers, Sean. Basically, there's 3 editors now. We learned about a new editor, and only 2 books. So, and I think that's a reasonable question to ask how 3 editors only, basically one of them's getting a book a month, right?
Well, I can't go into the actual P&L that we do. That's confidential. But what I will say is that we actually had one of our best P&Ls ever last year in terms of actual the budget. So, and that's with having those 3 editors on there. It's with the fact that David is actually developing a brand new series that you guys are going to hear about pretty soon. That should be coming out this summer, it looks like. So here's the thing, though. You look at even our roster, Heather Antos didn't have a book out for her first year that she was with Valiant. So, and now she's going to have about 5 of them out, I think, this year. So it all comes and goes. The editors who have a book out right now doesn't mean that the other editors aren't developing things for the next 2 years down the road. That's how we try and stay so far ahead. So thank you for your question, Sean. No, I love Sean. I'm not BSing. I really appreciate Sean, and I appreciate that he doesn't hold back, and I appreciate that he's trying to get answers. So,
it's the old saying, it's passion, right? It's passion in the books. It's care for the characters, and it's care for Valiant.
If you weren't asking me questions, if Sean didn't care enough to actually ask the questions, then I know something's really wrong. Right. But if he still has this passion for the characters and he's still paying this close attention, that's great. That means we're still resonating in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of the old pro wrestling logo. Silence is the worst response you can get. If you boo me, if you cheer me, that's okay. As long as you're making noise, it means you care. Hey, Sean, absolutely. You're welcome, buddy. So
I had a question. So I've noticed, even though you've got 2 books, it seems like there's been a little bit of an uptick in the amount of store exclusive variants that have been happening and artist exclusive variants. Yeah. And I'm just curious, have people been trying to reach out to Valiant more so because of the fact that there's only been 2 books so that they can get their own variant out there to help push them? Or is this something that sales has been pushing with retailers?
Well, I know Danny Ward is watching tonight. I want to give a shout out to Danny, to John Petrie, They have been absolute machines, but I'm telling you what, it's a great combination of both. But you know, the number one thing that people are responding to get these store exclusives? The books themselves. We send them the working copy. They read the book and then they make the decision. So they're just really, really excited for the story. You know, they were reading XO 1, 2, 3, 4. We had store exclusives on number 4. That hasn't happened in years. They were so excited.
It seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, they were so excited for the new suit. They were so excited for the direction of the character, and they liked the issue. They're not going to spend money unless they believe in the book. That's the bottom line. They can be your best friend. We can take them out to dinner. They can say as many wonderful things, you know, to the sales team and to me about how much they love it. They prove it when they actually put money in your product. Store exclusives are a way that they do that. The confidence they've been showing is absolutely a testament to the editorial that's been going into these books. That's a testament to Danny and John and how they've been communicating. And we hear over and over and over again that Valiant, with these stores, they love working with us. We make it fun. We get them the artists they're looking for. They get excited to work with us. They get excited to share what they've got. I was literally on the phone with someone today who wants another exclusive for Shadow Man #1.
Nice.
And he did one for Bloodshot #9, you know, and it was just like, why that issue? And he's like, I really like the issue and I really like what you guys are doing and I want to support. And it's like, cool. It's like, you believe you could sell 1,000 copies? He goes, yes, I can sell enough to make money. I go, great. You know, because that's the thing. Because we look at store exclusives, it's like any retailer relationship. It's a relationship. You know, you want to do one, but you want to do it in a way that's as financially responsible for the retailer, so that they come back and they want to do it again, right? That's always the strategy. It's not just sell one, it's how do I build a relationship so that they want to do a Savage and a Shadow Man and a Harbinger and a, can't say the name of that book yet, and a Ninjak. So it's, you know, and Danny and John have been absolutely phenomenal. They've been on a tear with these retailers, but it's a great mix. A lot of them are coming to us asking for it. Some are ones that we regularly communicate with and they haven't done one before and they really want to, because our terms are really great. Our customer service is amazing. The sales team is fantastic in how they deal with it. And yes, they are all great retailer shops. They do love the Valiant fans. And they know you guys are out there and you're going to support as well. And that's why they want to get these artists on there. So it's amazing.
Do you have an estimate on how much like the ratios are with some of those?
How do you mean a ratio? I'm sorry.
You know, like is it like 5 to 1, you know, of those, or 1, you know, within the store variants?
I don't have one off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and really look at the numbers. So next time, maybe I can go a little bit more into that. But yeah, I can't give you anything concrete right now without looking at the spreadsheets.
Perfect. And then I guess the next one would be one that we've kind of hinted for a little bit here, and one that we've kind of been asking for and wanting to get to that resolution. It's going to be in here. And any word on the Visitor?
Hi, Scott. So I was very excited to be coming on tonight of all nights because somewhat breaking news. The Visitor will be returning this summer.
Nice.
We're going to finish off the story. We are going to get the trade paperback out there. You are going to see what happens next. When exactly? It's a little early to announce it because of the summer, just the cycles of announces go. So I'm going to just say, keep an eye out. But, you know, if you love your J months, I think you're going to say it then. Oh, great question. So why Dr. Tomorrow before the Visitor? Dr. Tomorrow, we had more of the book finished earlier. So we wanted to finish out Dr. Tomorrow first during the height of COVID at the most uncertainty, as it were. Visitor, we've been looking, but as Eric pointed out, because we've been on a 2-book-a-month schedule, we wanted to make sure that Bloodshot and Rye were in there first. We wanted to get XO back on the board because only one issue had come out. So now we've got the room. Everything is in place. We're on our way for the Visitor this summer.
All right. That is exciting. Still same team, MJ Kim.
MJ Kim's on there. She's actually now, I think she's still finishing up number 6 at this point, but I think there's only a couple pages left. Number 5 is completely done. It's drawn. Pretty sure it's all colored and lettered at this point. It's
Cool.
We are confirming its press date probably tomorrow, even on that point of when it goes to the printer. So
good.
So the Visitor will be back. The Visitor will be back, closing out the beginning of the summer for you guys.
Great.
Awesome.
That's amazing to hear. I
literally set it in stone today. So this was the perfect timing. We've been looking and looking and looking and looking. Where on the board? We found it. So Visitor will be back.
That's awesome. I think there's been a lot of questions about that, and
of course
we all want to know. You know, we want to see the conclusion to that story. There's a lot of threads that were introduced, and it's going to be great to get that resolution. So thank you so much for giving us.
You've heard it first. Literally, no one outside the Valiant office has heard it. So this is the first time anybody anywhere is getting that confirmation from me with an actual time frame.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, we're happy to know as fans, and we're happy to have the opportunity to let other fans know that that's going to be happening. So thank you for giving us that opportunity to put that out there.
I'm thrilled to. As we get closer, I'll come back on. We'll talk even more about it. So
absolutely.
Good. Yeah. Have I been answering okay tonight? Have I been dodging any questions? Are you guys okay? All right.
Well, there was that one book you didn't say the name. I mean, come on.
Come on.
No, you brought up you brought up
I brought it up. You didn't ask me about it. So.
You brought up the new editor working on a new project, and I'm going to guess that was the book that you couldn't say. Is there anything that you can tell us about that? Because there was a little bit of an article, but we didn't get a lot of information. Is there any information?
It is. It's going to be out there. That's all I can say.
So Psylords Volume 2.
It's going to be out there.
So
all I can say.
So I'm really hoping Bad Eggs is going to be great.
No,
it's going to be out there.
Bad Eggs, baby.
It's going to be Bad Eggs. Is what it can be. So one question that someone asked me about this, not that I would have known anything about it, but the new book that David Wohl was commenting on CBR. Does that have anything to do with the teaser that we saw in the last Free Comic Book Day book?
No.
That looked like a face.
I will give that one to you here definitively. No, it is not about that teaser. That teaser is about something else. That due to COVID, we've had to move it around. And again, that's part of why I'm looking at all the way through 2022 at this point for that. Okay. But I promise, I will say absolutely that it has nothing to do with it. But I promise the universe is not absolute.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes. I'm trying to make sure we get to everybody's questions. I'm just looking.
I'm here.
Let me ask you real quick.
I am wearing no vest. Take your shot. Come on.
Okay. So last time we had you on,
sir,
I've mentioned that I like the older Valiant stuff a lot too. And you had made a comment about the Shadow Man omnibus that was going to come out last year.
Yes,
which it was going to, didn't happen. Do we have any idea if that's going to come out later this year?
Let me take a look again. I believe we're looking at, I need to take a look at the most recent hardcover and TPB schedule. I think it's Q4 that we're aiming for right now. I need to go back and take a look though. Exactly. It's been about a month since I've looked at that schedule.
Do you get a lot of demand for the older material? Because I know like we get older omnibus once a year.
It depends, it's sort of, there's the demand that you see, and then there's the demand that's shown with the dollars, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like Quantum and Woody omnibus, massive seller, amazing. Some of the others, nowhere near as strong. And for other characters that you would have thought would have done just as well. So it's a very interesting thing. So we hear demand, from certain areas on social media and from fan groups, and people come and they're asking for this material, and then sometimes you do it and it's not quite as in demand as you expect it to be, but that's life. So we certainly hear it. It feels like it goes in phases. It almost feels like certain times of the year I hear it more It's very weird. Like usually between January and March, I hear more fervently for reprints of some of that older materials, and then as we get into the summer, we hear less about it. I have no idea why that is. You guys would know better than me.
Yeah. Well, I'm
but-
curious about one more thing too. Is that how much of a demand is there for some of the older, not older, but like the more recent deluxe editions? Because I know a lot of those things, they'll sell out so fast, and then when new fans come in, they're not there for them. Like the Rye Deluxe, which it seems like it's sold out so fast, and if you look at prices, the prices are out of everybody's pocket. Like
I know. The deluxe edition just blows out the doors every time we put it out there. No matter how high a number we put, it still goes out of print. The important thing that we do too is we make sure the material is still in print, right? Like you can still get Rye books 1 through 5 and 4001 AD. They're still in print. You can still find them as a trade paperback. You can find them elsewhere. So as our feeling is, as long as the material is still in print for people to get, we hope that that's still a great opportunity for them to do so. That specific format, though, it's interesting because there's a difference between the hardcover collector and the omnibus collector versus your trade paperback reader versus your single issue reader. They really can be separate customers in there. And that's really what it comes down to, is that feeling, especially for the older material, which customer is that? Because those actually tend to be more the hardcover folks, is what we find. That's really where the overlap is. And there is some argument whether or not omnibus is the best format, quite frankly, for it. Or should we be doing a series of hardcovers? Should we be doing a series of trade paperbacks? We tried it with the Quantum and Woody series. We had kind of mixed results on that. So it's an interesting thing. We test the water here and there. We are listening. We are taking that into account. I think also which characters get reprinted on some point, you'll also see reflected based on what we have coming up in publishing. Like this is a very big Shadow Man year. The Night Dive remaster game, getting ready to announce when that's coming back. You've got the new Shadow Man series. Other things that we're not ready to announce yet. So you're going to see a lot more Shadow Man material, quite frankly, this year than you probably would other years. Because we want to make sure that we can take advantage of that mass market appeal as well, and that multi platforms that we're looking at now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know I like the hardcovers for my shelf. They look great, and I love
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
Connection, love it.
Oh my God, our team, Ivan Cohen, Steve Blackwell, Peter Stern is one of the guys that heads it up. Our production team that gets all the interiors ready. Like they are first rate in the industry. I will put our hardcovers up against any publisher and say that we've got a superior product and superior design. Like they are stunning, absolutely stunning. And it's why they keep selling out, I would argue. So
yeah, I dig them.
So, little bit of a topic change. We know when XO is coming back. We don't know, and maybe it's too early to even be asking this question. But as this arc of Bloodshot finishes up, it's a little bit up in the air what's coming next. Is there any information that you can give us about what might be coming next for Bloodshot?
Look at the last page of Bloodshot 12. That is the best hint I can give you. Look at the last page of Bloodshot 12. We give a very blatant tease as to what's going to be coming next, and I can't wait to come back on here and spitball with you and hear your theories on what it's going to be.
Oh.
All right.
Interesting.
Well,
yeah,
I'll take that. I definitely want Bloodshot sooner rather than later.
March 10th, you will get the first tease as to what comes next.
There we go. Well, and one of the books that had been advertised and pushed out was going to be Ray Fox, Jeremy Hahn, Heather Antos, The Final Witness. I can't say how pumped up I am for that creative team to put something together. I want to hear more. Give it to me now.
I can't give you a definite. I can't give you a definite timeline on The Final Witness right now. Just I'm going to beg your patience a little bit longer for when we can make those announcements. But that series is Danny will tell you. I am one of the biggest marks for that series. I cannot wait. It is exactly the kind of non-Valiant book I read, but done in the Valiant way that we all love. I cannot wait for that series to see the light of day. You are all going to lose your freaking minds. And if we get the chance to play the long game with this character the way we want to, there's a very big clue in issue 1 that you already have seen of where that book could go. So there is how that thing's going to ratchet up and ratchet up and ratchet up over the first 3 stories we've got planned for that character is insane. I really look forward. I really hope we get the chance to tell all those stories. I'm pushing for it. The book is so damn good. It's going to see the light of day. As we've talked about here in the past, though, you've got to strategize. I want to give that book the absolute best chance for success it possibly can, because it deserves nothing less. This is not a book you put out there to rush. You don't drop this into a sales month with weaker figures traditionally. You find your best chance to give this book the most amount of success possible. So that's what we're doing with it, because it's too good. It's too good to sacrifice into a bad month. It's just too good. So I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I cannot say exactly when you're going to see it, but you can bet your bottom dollar it is a priority for us.
Good to know.
I'm super stoked for that book. It's exactly what you just said. I read a lot of those kinds of books outside of Valiant, and knowing that Valiant is dipping their toes in that water is really exciting to me. So,
and
yeah,
we're
definitely
super excited because we really look, and I think I've talked a bit about it on here before, but Final Witness, even Savage to a degree, even what's happening, with the hardcore horror from Shadow Man coming up, we really have an opportunity to play with genre in a way that hasn't been done in the Valiant universe for many, 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 many years, if ever. And the Final Witness, it's a new flavor. We're trying to be a little bit more Baskin Robbins. We want it, maybe not 31 flavors, but a new flavor every year is not a bad thing to try out and see how people react to it. And Final Witness is a great new flavor that we're offering for your comics taste buds, if we can follow that analogy. I shouldn't have, but I did it. I committed. We're gonna make it work.
And I don't remember when it was, but you had posted a video a while back hinting towards some Archer and Armstrong. And I know a lot of us love some A&A. Would you remind us what that hint was, what you had said about it a little bit, and if you could tell us any more?
Oh my gosh. What was the hint? You got to remind me.
Well, that you've seen stuff. It's in the works, and you're excited.
Okay,
and,
sorry. I was like, what did I put out there?
Yeah.
I'm just like, look, time is a flat circle, and it has no meaning. So I'm just like, we're 10 months into pandemia. So the world is the world. Yes, I'm still seeing things. Yes, they still exist. Yes, he's still millennia old and still drinks a lot. Yes, he is still not able to grow good facial hair and could kill somebody with his fingernails from 300 yards away if he wanted to. So that much I can say is very intact. What the long-term plans are, I don't think you're going to see them probably this year. I think probably 2022. Okay. Again, we've got to roll with COVID and get everything out there, but keep an eye out for when that's going to be. Again, I'm looking at, as I said before, I'm looking at towards all the way through December 2022 right now, and where we fit on the board with them. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And so I have this thought too. We talked about the sales of possibly. Probably about Shadow Man. I mean, this is just one instance, the omnibus, or something else. I know another publisher recently did a very successful crowdfunding for, let's say they had a movie star with it. Let's say his name's Keanu Reeves, former Valiant writers with it, Matt Kent, and it just went boom right on Kickstarter. Has there been an idea? Are we willing? Having some, Kickstarter support for some of these to maybe produce these books to kind of help that P&L get started before it starts.
How would you feel about seeing something from us on Kickstarter?
I mean, I would buy it anyway, and just giving it out there makes sense to a degree. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like it's a little hard when you see like I think like a company like Image. Like when you see Image, I think just recently announced that they're going to do one on there, and I think, man, like, do you really need the help or things like that? But like small publishing, it makes
actually,
sense.
be mindful of Image in particular, because there are a ton of creators with books at Image who use crowdfunding to support it, because it's a vanity publisher. They have to pay to get their books done through Image. They're paying for the distribution. They're paying for printing. So you bought Image books for years now. For about 3 years, you've been seeing Image books on Kickstarter, whether it's variant covers of it or different editions of it. But you're seeing a ton of them. Ryan Brown is a master of Kickstarter, our Quantum City artist. He recently was funding, an edition like that on Image for his Curse Words book with Charles Soule. You've been seeing it there. Dynamite's been doing it for years. Boom recently, as you've alluded to with Berserker, and there's no sign of it slowing down. Only more publishers are getting into this right now. It's going to be a trend. Boom already is just finished their second one, and they haven't even delivered a minuscule amount of their first, which is generally a no-no for Kickstarter. But when you got Power Rangers, you can do that. So, but Aspen, Top Cow, they've been doing them for a couple years now with oversized editions and reprints and what have you. So it's certainly not off the table. When and how, which character we go with first will be a great conversation going forward. Could you see it in 2021? You could. So I would say stay tuned. I think that there's an appetite for it. I think there's a great audience out there. I think that it's a wonderful time, and it's another great way to connect with fans and reward fans directly. Yep. I see no shame in it. We are not trying to pull what some publisher did 5 years ago and fund a complete reboot of our universe. That's not what we would do. So what we do is we would pick a special project. We would pick a special project that we believe there's a great audience in a certain platform that it would be a great thing to roll out with first. Not saying only, but first.
Right.
That's how we would strategize it. So I think your point is very prescient. As always, you guys have your thumbs on the pulse of this industry and, quite frankly, of what we are thinking. So keep an eye out. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I don't even think it's out of the realm of possibilities for this year. But I can't confirm definitely yet.
Yeah. Because I think of Space Bastards, right? Derek Robertson.
Yeah.
He funded Volume 1, Volume 2 of hardcovers, right? So he's crowdfunding the hardcover before the book's even out. Yes. And then they're going to do the single issues through Humanoids.
Yep.
And, and then there's already the hardcovers for those people that supported it. So it's really supporting and funding the book up front.
I think they just came out.
Yeah,
I think
the number 1 and number 2, or number 1 came out a couple weeks ago, and their number 2 is currently being funded, and it's already successful for Volume 2.
Yeah,
so they've done it there.
It's a very real possibility. It's a very real, and it's growing in terms of where it's going to be in the marketplace, and that seems to be the key with Kickstarter. Is you do a Kickstarter edition of the material, right. For those people supporting it. But then you can still go into the direct market. You can still go into the into the book market with that material as well, just in a different format that's maybe more traditional for that marketplace. So Kickstarter is a wonderful way, even for what you're talking about, Josh, for older material, for reprints, for larger size editions. It's a wonderful avenue there. It's a great avenue for middle grade and YA material. It's a great avenue for OGNs. It's a great avenue for young, hungry creators trying to make a name. It's a great avenue for publishers to reach out to fans directly and to find the demand for certain formats that you may not be confident about in other sections of the marketplace as well. It's a great testing ground there. Oh no, did we lose Josh?
His phone was dying. He'll be right back.
Okay, all right. I was worried he hated my answer. Screw this line, I'm leaving.
No, that's awesome. That those things are on the table. That's exciting. That those kinds of ideas are.
Yeah, they're on the table, and everyone in the company is really receptive to it being on the table. So let's see what the future brings.
So speaking of what the future may bring, a lot of us want there's so many characters in the Valiant universe.
So many.
There are just so many. Sean just brought up Mary Maria and the Sisters of Perpetual Darkness.
Love them.
I want to know about Dr. Tomorrow. I mean, there's more characters than you could shake a stick at. War Mother was brought up in the conversation as one of the future 4002 AD universe characters. Are there any other of these? Is there any way that we're going to get to see any more of these characters on the shelves? I know there's been a lot of talk. I've pushed my idea of a Unity book with rotating creative team, rotating character team. That's something I think would be amazing. I know that a lot of people want to see a Unity 4002. Is there any way that we're going to get to see?
I want to see a Unity 400 AD. I'd be fascinating to see what that looks like with like the Shadow Man of 400 AD. Maybe bring a little Britannia in there. You got the Immortal Brothers are still around. Even Ivar could be a part of that team. And technically, Arc's in that frame of mind too as a young warrior. So I mean, there's so much potential for going into different time zones, not just the future but the past. So your question is, how are we going to get them on the board?
Yeah, I mean, is there a time frame that we can expect to see any more of these characters, which I know is kind of a huge question.
Yeah, it's a massive question right now, right? With COVID times and how we've got to look at 2 or 3 books a month right now. I'd say you're going to see some of these characters popping up in some of the series later in the year. And then you're probably going to see more appearances from some of them in 2022. Some of them may have their own books. Some of them may be guest starring in other books. But as we talked about earlier, we are a shared universe. And you go in ebbs and flows when you're a universe for how tightly you bring it all together versus how much you give everybody their own direction to drift apart before bringing them back together. So it's actively being discussed right now. Again, my meeting tomorrow, in terms of what the fates of some of these characters are and so much as when we can see them on the board. So it's being discussed. It's heard, I promise. But I would say the earliest you're really going to see some of the characters that you named specifically would be probably towards Q3, Q4 of this year. And then into Q1, Q2 of 2022 as well.
Okay. Well, hopefully that includes Dr. Tomorrow because
he does travel through time like a certain immortal brother does. So it's
true.
I'm just hoping for more faith.
You gotta have faith.
Yeah, gotta have.
Listen, you gotta have faith, and I'm just telling you right now. I think that you're gonna find a way to really kickstart your faith passion this year. I'm really excited. So we'll see what happens with that character.
Cool.
I like that answer. Oh man.
What else you got?
Make sure I open up the chat. Make sure everybody in the chat, if you got some questions for Matthew that haven't already been asked and you're just now jumping on, please put that in the chat. We'll try to get that in there. One of them that has been mentioned a couple times, I know Eric's had his Unity book that he wanted with to have Capshaw have a group of team come through and out. But then we got Sean Hayes asking that anthology book, and I've heard that quite a bit. A good way to maybe get 4, 5, 8 pages or one shots of getting some of these characters continued on the board to kind of work around it.
Anthology books are extraordinarily useful for these purposes. A quarterly anthology book is extremely useful for getting these characters on the board. It's extremely useful for bringing in new talent that maybe you haven't worked with before. Sometimes it's extremely useful to get very busy talent who maybe don't have time to do a full series, but could do an 8-pager for you. So it's something that we talk about it, I want to say at least once every 2 to 3 months as to what a quarterly anthology book would look like. The question right now is, in light of COVID, in light of where we're at, one, what would the sales be? You have to look at the sales history first and foremost. Anthology books traditionally are very hit and miss in terms of how well they do. So it's got to be a question of what greater purpose it's going to serve for the publishing line and how We would want to integrate those stories further down because we don't want to just do a story for the sake of doing it. So what it would look like, when it could look like, I don't think you could see it before 2022 at this point. It is absolutely a thing that gets discussed. Again, I would say once every other month. The format of it would be really the biggest nut to crack. The budget on it, the P&L for it is the bigger challenge that we face there. Generally speaking, you need a very, very, very big name creative team to make an anthology work. And you need a higher price point than we like to put in our books generally in order to try and make it work. Like you put that $9.99 price tag or an $8.99 price tag on an anthology book. And so that's a big bump from $3.99.
How did annuals used to do?
Annuals did fine. They would sell about as well as the single issue that came before it. They wouldn't really go up. Sometimes they would even go down a little bit. So it would never give you the big sales boost that you maybe would think. What you could get out of it is it would be a way sometimes of double dipping to test if you can get 2 issues of Bloodshot in 1 month or test if you can get 2 issues of XO in 1 month. Same with 0 issues is, from a sales perspective, it's a way that you can test the water there to see how fervent that demand is. But annuals would do okay. They would do solid, but they would never blow the roof off the place. You know what I mean? So it's tricky.
Yeah.
So a question that we just got in the chat is everybody in the Valiant fan community knows J-Rob.
J-Rob,
we're all a big fan of his.
You mean Woody?
He makes a lot of custom action figures, and he's asking action figures in general. I know they've been talked about in the past here and there, nothing concrete. Is there anything that that you can tell us about the possibility of action figures? Because I know, like when that Bloodshot one from the movie came out, I was ridiculously excited.
So exciting.
3 of them.
I bought 2 of them. They're sitting in my bedroom right now on one of my coolest shelves. How can I answer this question? I would love to say more about action figures, but man, to sneak it out of there ahead of time, you'd have to be a ninja on which one could come first. So I think that keep the faith, keep your throwing stores handy and throw them at me by the end of the year if I say nothing else. But I'm hoping that we can give you a bit of an update on action figures within Q2, Q3 of the year. So we'll see. So stay tuned.
Nice.
Well, it sounds like at least there's reason to expect a possible announcement in the future, even if nothing specific can be said now.
Not yet. It's one of those things we've been talking to a lot of people. We think we found a great home for them. It's just a question of making sure the deal is good to go, what the designs are going to look like, which characters you can, really stealthily get on the board first, and just, make sure that they have the best impact possible. And so stay tuned. I'm more hopeful now about action figures than I think I've ever been. So I will give you that good faith. I just can't give you anything absolutely, definitive here. If you might as well just put a purple sash around my head and point to a calendar date, and that's the most accurate I can give you.
However you slice it.
And, basically, yeah.
Another question that came up in our chat was someone had asked about Dan Abnett, because we were all such big fans of Rye. We've all loved Fallen World.
Amazing.
Is there a future of him being with the company?
There's always a future for Rye, and Dan is always welcome here any and every time. We love Dan. Dan's a joy to work with. He's amazing with the fans. He tells great stories. He had an amazing handle on the future of the universe. I've seen, the story that would come next. And again, it's just a question of when and how we get it on the board.
Okay.
Score.
Yeah,
Nice.
I would love to see more Dan Abnett in the Valiant universe.
I can't wait until we do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Just super pumped up for everything that's kind of everything that's there. I think that's probably the hard thing is getting 2 books but anticipating the other, you know what I mean? The anticipation with only 2, right? And that's probably more of the frustration is we've seen pictures of The Final Witness, and it's that anticipation. We've read 4
There's
issues.
There's an ASCAN now for The Final Witness.
Ooh.
Is there?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I have one.
Do you have one?
I do have one.
Do you?
I'm going to have to talk to Danny about this. I don't know how you got one.
I got one off eBay.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
That's
crazy talk. That book does not exist. I don't know what you mean. It's not that I have 5 of them over here to my left. I don't know what you're talking about.
Ooh.
It would be a shame if one of those showed up in my mailbox.
I would not be disappointed.
Oh.
It's okay. I mean, here's the thing. Would you rather that, or am I going to have to take an axe to it?
Oh,
yeah. I want my katana,
bad.
my ninja katana sword. That's what I want.
So close. Close for Ninja K. I can't even tell you.
Oh,
we were looking at doing swords for Rai, and particularly for 4001 AD when that series was happening. That became the time capsule though. But no, I had plans for a Valiant Arsenal back in like 2015, 2016. That was my harebrained idea. Do a weapon associated with every single number 1 we had coming up. I wanted to do like a bolt, like a
Bloodshot 50 cal.
You have no idea how close that came to being researched.
That would be a 50 cal Bloodshot. Yes.
I don't say it was going to be 50 cal, but I'm not going to lie and say that the idea of engraved bullets was not something on the table during one of our many, many, many discussions. So
that would be sweet.
that was before, but we were talking about that as early as Salvation, and even USA, we were talking about it. So,
yeah.
I can't believe you have one of those Eternal Warrior axes. I am so jealous.
Are you kidding me? I got it made.
That's true.
I found the vendor. I found the engraver. I carried a lot of them to there. I had to get them on the subway. I carried them in cabs. I carried them in Ubers. I was responsible for getting the first couple dozen out the door. Like that is my blood and sweat and tears. I'm not joking about.
How many
tears.
people moved their seat in the subway when they saw you with like 4 battle axes?
Just a collection of axes.
Handful of them.
It's New York. No one moved. What are you talking about? You know what they did? They just crowded and go, they don't care. They've seen crazier stuff on the subway.
Fair.
Also, I had to hold the box so that you have the blank side showing so that the cops don't stop you when you pass the security. Otherwise, they go, why are you carrying a weapon?
That's awesome. And you mentioned some ideas for Bloodshot and what's coming for him. Would
you guys be down for some dog tags? That's my question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
Danny's watching. We're going to have a conversation.
And then I would like some literal dog tags to go on my dog for his dog tag.
Could we do
Bloodshot.
oh my God,
Bloodhound.
could we do a bloodhound like collar?
Yeah. That would be cool.
I just want more
Bloodhound
cat
collar.
stuff.
Yes.
Cat stuff?
More
I'm
cat
dancing.
stuff. Yeah.
Look, my fluffy tyrant is in the other room. She's been surprisingly quiet. Usually she joins me on these interviews.
We usually see the cat. Yep.
The cat's always there. She's the star of the show. But so I feel you on that. I want to get some kind of like a catnip toy at some point. What Valiant character has a cat? That's the real question. Like which Valiant character got their pet?
Come on, she's
Faith
a cat.
would have a cat. Yeah. Faith would have a cat.
Or Gamma. Go back in time with Gamma. That would be cool.
You know who I think secretly has a cat? Capshaw. I think Capshaw actually has a cat.
Capshaw totally seems like she would have a cat.
Right?
100%.
She could be a cat person.
I am
Totally
I am so with you on her being a cat person.
I think hashtag Catshaw. That's what it's going to be.
Punk Mambo could have a black one. I could totally see her sporting a black cat. Or at least a feral black cat, and it just goes with her, right? Because it's she's a feral too. So yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Punk Mambo's got like a German Shepherd. Just like a super smart dog that is unbelievably loyal and will also tear anybody's throat out that comes near her the wrong way. I feel like she She would command that dog beautifully. She's probably the best dog trainer of anyone in the Valiant universe, I would argue.
I'd love it to be like some ugly mutt that you wouldn't expect anything from.
Oh, you know, and she would. I mean, the dog at the beginning of the first Punk Mambo series, so she does have that loyalty.
Yep. And there's some exciting things coming soon. I think I want to hit a button and kind of share to the world something for the first time ever. What do you guys think?
Ooh.
What do you guys think? Anybody else want to see something?
Is this gonna get me
think we
fired?
all want to see some things.
I want to see something. I just want to see it.
Let's see it.
All right, I'm not gonna look until you tell me.
Boom. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
So, this is an exclusive panel. This has not been revealed anywhere else. You guys are the first. This is from Bloodshot 11. It's coming out the end of the month. That is Bloodshot getting it on with one of the baddies from there. If you think that's something, you ain't seen nothing yet. Pedro Andreo is absolutely demolishing this series. His artwork has been incredible. A guy we found through one of our portfolio reviews. When people ask, is that thing legit? We literally found our current Bloodshot artist through them. So Pedro is just a joy and a half, and he is having so much fun and just taking every opportunity to create awesomeness on every page. So there you go. I will not tell you where in the issue that comes in, but it's quite badass. I would even argue that's not even the most badass panel on that page. So get ready.
I totally believe it as much as I'm like that image just it screams Bloodshot to me. It's so badass and just violent and perfectly like there's a gun, there's blood splattering all over the place.
It's
there's
the gun shooting through the hand. I see that now.
Yep.
Gun shooting through the hand. Yeah, and then you see it shooting through the right arm a little bit up in the forearm.
You do. Yep.
Okay. Yep. As I look at it, I see a little bit more every time I look a little more into it. I was wondering that on his left arm why that blood's right there, but I see the bullet hole now where it's coming out. Yeah, phenomenal. So,
good stuff.
Yeah,
I cannot wait for you guys to see that book and to see the big bad in there absolutely just demolishing Bloodshot and putting him through the ringer. It's going to be great.
That's really exciting. Bloodshot has been so good. The writing on it has been absolutely phenomenal. There have been a few different artists who have all done amazing, in my opinion. I was really concerned. I loved that first few issues with Brett Booth doing the art. I was worried that when it switched to a different artist that it wouldn't be as good, but yeah, it is. It's still just absolutely phenomenal. Every artist that's been on there, because there have been a few.
Pedro Andreo, that is his name. Don't wear it out, I promise. No, but I mean, you look at it too, and I know we got to wrap up shortly, but it's like you got Savage #1 on the way, February 17th. It's our first #1 issue in 11 months. Nate, I know, I'm telling you, Nate Stockman's artwork on there is absolutely incendiary. It vibrates off the page. I cannot wait for you guys to see what's in store for that character. The amount of bloodshed in that book is redonkulous. Shadow Man on the heels to follow with that in April. You guys have already seen a good chunk of that book. You know what's in store, even more so than the casual fan does who's watching this. So we're so excited. It's finally all coming to fruition. We're so ready for this, and we're really excited for the fans to have these #1s that you guys have been clamoring for, that we're finally at the point where it's time. So gear up, get Valiant, get Savage, get Shadow Man, and it's going to be a great year.
So I think I heard get Valiant and stay Valiant. I think we talked about that.
I didn't want to take the stay Valiant line. I wanted you to say it.
I just want to say thank you, Matthew, for coming on, for chatting with us, for being as open as you can be, and giving us answers to all of our ridiculous questions.
I say this to you every time, and I mean it more every time. Any episode you want me on, I don't care how last minute. If I have to move whatever dead side in Earth, I will do it. So I love being on here. You guys are great. It's a wonderful opportunity. I love being able to take the fans' questions. And if you don't like the answers, let me know about it. That's okay. If there's anything we missed, follow up with me. We can always do this again. And next time, Hoosier, you will have your U.S. title belts.
That's
And
right.
we gotta figure out what titles to get Josh and Eric here so that we can have all four of us have a championship in the frame. So
who gets the Diva belt? I don't know.
Oh, it's the guy right there, man.
Like Eric's like, I win.
Oh yeah.
Diva.
I was say, I would just take the 24/7. I'm up like all night with kids anyway.
There you go.
And can I show everybody something that I kind of made and screwed around with real quick? Everybody okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. I'm pumped up for it. I'm pumped up for it. A little Shadow Man action.
Yeah, who's your Scorsese?
Yeah. It's just beautiful art, and I just put crap in front of it and polished it up.
God, it's stunning artwork. I love that cover A image. I really do, with him standing over Jack like that. It's so creepy.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. We're excited.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody again, Matthew, thank you for jumping on. Everybody on the chat, you guys all rock. I appreciate you guys a lot, and it's been a blast. It's been fun. So like, subscribe, share, hit us on Twitter, hit us on Facebook. If you guys have more questions, we can share that message or get it back. And just appreciate your guys' accessibility, Matthew. Thank you guys.
Always and forever. I love being on this. You guys are the heartbeat. You guys are what keep us going. We are here for you, and we so appreciate it. Congratulations on this being episode 184. Is that correct?
The big 184.
I mean, I can't wait to come back for 200. Let's do this.
Oh, let's make that a thing that happens.
Let's absolutely make that happen.
And shout out to Greg for getting us organizing this for us. So appreciate that, Greg.
And Danny for hanging out in the chat.
Danny, yeah, we always appreciate her. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate everyone.
Okay, go give Valiant.
Mutual Appreciation Society.